I feel like I deserved an award for making it through this entire interview. I watched this entire interview, so y'all do not have to watch this entire interview. It is so like embarrassing in a lot of ways. How like never mind. Let's just bring the ladies on the view out, please. Y'all come to the stage, and we'll go through it, and you guys will give your thoughts as well. So, all right, should be already queued up. Let's go.
She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses, and so the influence of a personal experience will have its impact on the presidency.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden?
Y'all heard what Sonny just asked, right? So we talk about this a lot on the show. Kamala Harris tries to separate herself from Joe Biden on certain things. Well, I'm clearly not Joe Biden. Y'all heard in the debate with Trump. Tries to separate herself on certain things with Joe Biden to the point where it almost feels as if, well, she always acts as if she's not in office right now. She's saying it's time for a new change. We're not going backwards. She's acting as if Donald Trump is the current president. And what does everybody else say? Everybody that I have a conversation with, we just heard Charlemagne with Byron Donalds and the Breakfast Club saying, well, she's the vice president. So if she's saying that she would have done all these other things differently than Joe Biden, then she can say that because she's the vice president. She doesn't set policy like a president would, right? So this has been the theme since she became the candidate, since she slid in the back door and out of nowhere just went from the most unliked vice president to the most liked now person in politics, I guess you would say, or a fake like, whatever. And she has very consistently made it clear that she would do things differently than Joe Biden. She said certain things. Well, if this thing, I'll make sure it comes to my desk with the border and I'll get that signed. Remember the one that she always complains about Trump calling his buddies and shutting it down? She said, I'll make sure that I do an executive order, whatever she was saying that she would do. There's been a number of things that she has tried to make it clear that she would be different than Joe Biden on. Now, she's in a tough position, obviously, because Joe Biden has a lot of support as well. And there's a lot of people, truth be told, that are only rooting for Kamala or supporting Kamala because of Joe Biden. So I only preface that to give a little bit of context. The only reason why I just stopped the interview right there, because I want to know what y'all are thinking. When she gets asked that question, what would you do differently than Joe Biden? She's somebody who you would think that she would be very well prepared to answer that question because she keeps saying how she's not Joe Biden. So she wants to take credit for the things that went well, that we celebrate that Joe Biden did, but distance herself from the other things. And she continues to make it clear that it's time for a new generation of leadership. So I'm excited to hear what she's going to tell us that she would have done differently than Joe Biden. Let's go back to Sonny's question a little bit. There we go.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. Yeah. The work that we have done, for example.
In a lot of ways, I'm extremely impressed by Kamala. I'm extremely impressed in a lot of ways by her campaign. Well, I don't know whether I'm impressed by Kamala or just looking at the people that are voting for her and just questioning a lot of things. I do not get it. I do not get it. I've had so many conversations with people where they say, well, she would have done stuff differently. She would have done stuff. You just have it right here. You have it right here. She just said nothing comes to mind. Kamala, I don't think it's the type of thing that should have to come to mind. You're running for president based on us needing a new generation of change, a new generation of leadership. but you can't tell us what you would do differently than the current president. And now you're saying that I was mostly involved in all the big decisions. So pretty much we can expect another 4 years of Joe Biden based on what you're saying. Now, that may be good for some people. Some people may say like, hey, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. Others may say, nah, I can't take 4 more years of this inflation of the economy doing quote unquote so well. That's all we hear. The economy's doing so well, but our money isn't going anywhere. So who's really doing well? When we talk about the issues between Israel and Palestine, when we talk about the issue with Ukraine and Russia, when we talk about the border crisis, all of these different things that she's tried to somewhat separate herself from Joe Biden on and act as if, well, when I'm president, we're going to have this. I got this drawn out. I got a plan for this. Maybe this is the reason why you didn't have anything on your website for so long regarding policies. Because you clear as day just sat here and said, I can't, nothing comes to mind. Like, this is the time, like the lack of preparation is insane. But, and you would think that the women on The View would, I don't know, push back a little bit or ask her to explain a little bit more. But no, the entire interview was just a cakewalk. They didn't even say anything to the point where there were awkward moments because it still is an interview. Right? It still is a conversation where they're supposed to be back and forth. There were parts of this whatever that you want to call it, where it got to an awkward silence where she would say something and nobody wanted to push back. So there was just silence. And they say, oh, well, okay, we'll cut to break. Let's go back and listen to that again, and then we'll let her do the normal word salad for a little bit.
Than President. If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. Yeah. The work that we have done, for example, capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month for our seniors is something I care deeply about allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Yes. And bring the cost of prescription medication down for seniors, but my intention is to expand that for all Americans. Mm-hmm. The work we have done to invest in American industries, whether it be in terms of manufacturing and creating almost 800,000 new jobs around manufacturing, those were all a shared priority.
Well, let's Kamala, and I'm calling you Kamala because for all of those who are mispronouncing it, I want you all to know how to say it.
This is one of the goofiest groups of people like I've ever seen. And people take them seriously. And there's a lot of people that watch this show to get information, as well as entertainment, of course, but that value the opinions of these women. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. But what I will say is I'm not going to say it. I'm going to have CNN say it. All right. So there was a CNN. So for y'all that are not familiar with like the mainstream news stations, MSNBC is undeniably, I would say like them and CNN, but MSNBC is undeniably just pro-Democrat. It doesn't matter who's running. These are the people that are up there saying, you know, Biden could be sleeping and they'll say, no, he's lively. He's looking good. Just like, matter of fact, that's exactly what they did do. That's exactly what they did do. To the point where we always go back to it on this show. We said for over a year, like, yo, Biden clearly has some cognitive decline. Nope, he's good. I got word from, they say he's sharp as a tack, all this other stuff, right? And then it comes out, okay, boom. CNN is right behind them. It may be ABC. ABC and CNN, I guess they're fighting for second place of who can support the Democrats and be as non-biased or as biased and non-objective as possible in their support. And that showed up in the debate between Kamala and Trump. And it also showed up in the vice president debate, if you ask me, with a lot of these stations. So CNN, very liberal. Listen to what they had to say on this issue. I thought it was very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's switch it up real quick. Boom.
Done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Molly, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews, and this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently. And she's not very specific in laying that out, and she can't point to a decision she would have made differently, which, in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led, and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
Now, I believe that was, is that Jen Psaki? Not Jen Psaki. What's the other one? The one that did the first interview. I believe this is the lady that Dana Bash. This is Dana that did the first interview with Kamala, that softball interview that was super awkward. This is CNN. For them to say this is pretty significant. It's pretty significant, but we're not going to stay there. We're going to go back. We're going to go back because, like I said, we got a couple things we got to make sure that we're getting through everything. But let me also make sure that I'm catching up with the comments. So IROC wrote, this last election is the most fluctuating I've ever seen in the economy. Usually it seems like it doesn't change a whole lot with either party. That's definitely something interesting to note. Yeah, and I'll be honest, I've thought about that a lot, IROC, as well, because, I have a little bit of money in stocks, and I always think, like, okay, if Trump wins, then how's that going to impact? I have a lot in Tesla as well. So I'm like, yo, Elon, chill out, be cool. But yeah, you know what I mean? I'm always trying to figure out, because Elon because he's so up and down or all over the place. And no, let me not say because he's so up and down, because he just says what's on his mind and has enough FU money to the point where he's not going to be politically correct or care about certain influences impacting his business. He's going to do what he believes in. Y'all saw what happened when he took over X and the Disney people pulled all their funding. And at the event with Disney people, he said, like, yo, he basically pretty much said, like, F him. Matter of fact, I think he said word for word that, but don't quote me on it. But to your point, I always sit in here and wonder, like, okay, who's going to be better with a Tesla? Who's going to be better with this stock? Or if this person wins, are they going to push more of the electric climate change things? Or are we going to be more at war? So should I invest in Boeing? Should I invest in these things? Or if this person wins, should I invest? You know what I mean? So I'm always thinking about those things. And with fluctuation, what I will say is that there is an opportunity. So when things go up and down and all over the place, there's an opportunity to make money. So it's just something that we should be aware of, perhaps look into, maybe ask some questions, look it up for yourself, look on YouTube. There's a lot of information that is available to us for free. So you don't necessarily have to go talk to a financial advisor. Look it up. All right. Look it up on YouTube. All right. So then Uncle Brother wrote, yo, finally caught up with your schedule change. All right. It's like this. I've been saying since day one with this woman, she's a fraud. She's an empty pantsuit. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. Shut the computer. We're done. We're done here. So I Uncle Brother, I'm with you. I wish I could like. Can we like? Somebody like Uncle Brother's comment. IROC wrote, I'm in crypto, so I feel you, LOL. Oh, so yeah, you already know. If you're in crypto, we got to talk. What's up with, there's a lot of people I feel like in the Midwest in crypto. So we'll talk maybe. Shy wrote, this is crazy. She has no clue what is going on. That's what's so Shy. I'm going to be honest. Exactly what you just wrote is why I just look at people and like, I'm trying to think if I should bring up a certain, what somebody sent me to, never mind. This is what I don't understand how such intelligent people will use such simple logic and come away with that Kamala Harris is the best person to lead this country. I just don't understand it. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm very big on when things don't make sense to me, they bother me. Like, it'll impact me for a very long time. Like, if you're in a situation and you prepare and you prepare and everything, and then something doesn't go right, like, I'm going to be in my head about that. Or if a situation doesn't make sense, I always talk about Drake and Kendrick. I'm like, yo, Drake, the lyrics of Drake's are like, Drake bodied him. Like, what's going on? Like, everybody's liking Kendrick. It just doesn't make sense. It bothers me. I told y'all there was another one with Errol Spence. I'm going on a tangent, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, clearly she is not, she doesn't look very capable. She doesn't look very intelligent. And I understand that when Trump says certain things about her that we like to get in our feelings, but if we're just being honest, she doesn't seem like the sharpest knife in the drawer. She doesn't. So I'm sitting here wondering, why are you supporting her? Why? And then the only reason to justify it is because, oh, well, Donald Trump's going to be a dictator. You mean the same Donald Trump that was already okay, yeah. All right, cool. Neither here nor there. All right, whatever. All right, so let's keep going. We're back to The View. What did I say so we're at 12:37. So this is an interesting exchange where she's asked about what's going on. Apparently her and Ron DeSantis are having like a little bit of a back and forth. So we'll listen to this, and I'll play a couple different videos for us to really figure out what's going on.
In the name of the storm, as this massive storm is it's about to hit Florida,
Yeah.
You and Governor DeSantis have been going back and forth, trading jabs over your attempt to check in. And ahead of the storm, you've called him selfish for not taking your calls. Now, he said this morning you've never called regarding any of the storms Florida has had since you've been vice president until apparently now, and called it political. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, I have called and talked with, in the course of this crisis, this most recent crisis, Democrat and Republican governors. Called, taken the call, answered the call, had a conversation. So obviously, this is not an issue that is about partisanship or politics for certain leaders, but maybe is for others. Mm-hmm. What you also know, and the issue of what's about to hit Florida, and your live show, so I just can't stress enough, this hurricane coming to Florida is catastrophic. And predicted to be historic in terms of how serious and devastating it will be. And I urge every and anybody who is watching or has family members in that area, please, please, please take seriously your local officials. Admonition to you, if they're telling you to evacuate, get your stuff and go. Mm-hmm. If whatever they're telling you, because we gotta, Floridians, tough folks, been through a lot, but this is going to be different than they've been before. And I know a lot of folks might think, I've been through this, I grew up here, I've seen it all, I'll be fine. This one is going to be different, and that's why I called the governor about what Florida has received in terms of impact. We have to have an agreement that at some point we all need to work together to combine resources, especially federal, state, and local resources around these kinds of disasters. Yeah. And I think it's a shame that that hasn't happened. But look, it has at the local level and with other state electeds. So
He'll take your call.
So, I mean, the way Kamala Harris explains it, I would think that Ron DeSantis would want to. I just heard a big wind gust. I would think that Ron DeSantis would want to take the call from Kamala Harris and speak to somebody on the federal level to make sure that Florida has the support that is needed. As a Floridian, as an official Floridian, I want DeSantis to make sure that, he's in communication on the federal end to make sure that we have the support and aid that's needed. So,
look, it has at the local level and with other state elected.
Hear this,
He'll take
lady.
your call when you're president.
Yeah. He'll take your call when you're president. All right, so let's y'all know we can't just leave it there, right? We can't just leave it there. And IROC said she's so full of crap, it's so hard to listen to her. Well, let's actually see what else is going on here. Let's see what else is going on here, because I want to show y'all this other clip before we get back to The View. Listen to this, and you tell me what your thoughts are, because we're going to hear from Ron DeSantis and get his opinion, right? We heard Kamala Harris's opinion. We got to get Ron DeSantis' opinion. It's only right. That's only being fair, right? So let's hear from Ron and see what his thoughts are.
And says this. Take a look.
NBC is reporting Governor DeSantis is ignoring your calls on.
They're going to listen to the Kamala clip first, then you'll hear Ron.
Hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now, and playing political games at this moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations, is just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
Let's go, Ron.
Make no mistake, Hurricane Helene is Kamala's Katrina. Joining us now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is with us on the latest on preparation. All right. I saw the statement from your office. Number one, you did not hear about a call from Kamala. You would have taken the call, you said. I had you on my radio and TV show before Helene hit. You told me, and I had Governor Kemp on, and he told me, in your case, you had 30,000 utility trucks staged to go in right after the hurricane. You had food, water, medicine, supplies ready to go right in behind the hurricane. As usual, I'm assuming you have the same thing for Milton. Am I wrong, Governor?
No, you're right. And Hurricane Helene was a Category 4 storm. It did significant damage to the state of Florida. We've been on this footing now for 2 weeks straight in terms of preparation, response. And now we have an even bigger storm that's bearing down, as you pointed out, in a very populated area, potentially could do even more damage. And we've been laser focused on leveraging all resources available, including from the federal government. And I've been in touch with both FEMA and the president, as well as marshaling all our state agencies and working to support our local communities. And so for Kamala Harris to try to say that my sole focus on the people of Florida is somehow selfish is delusional. She has no role in this. In fact, she's been vice president for 3.5 years. I've dealt with a number of storms under this administration. She has never contributed anything to any of these efforts. And so what I think is selfish is her trying to blunder into this. No. And here's the thing. She has no role. No, she has no role in this process. I'm in contact with the President of the United States. I'm in contact with FEMA director. I'm obviously managing all our state agencies.
Wait, nah. There's no way that he's in contact with the president, and she's going on The View and doing that last interview next to the plane, acting as if DeSantis is just turning down support from, or he doesn't want to talk to the federal. That's very misleading, in my opinion. So maybe, who knows? Maybe DeSantis is lying about talking to Biden just to make it seem as if he's talking to somebody on the federal side to get support. Maybe he's lying. I don't know.
We're supporting all our local government. And I will say this. I've had storms under both President Trump and President Biden, and I've worked well with both of them. She's the first one who's trying to politicize the storm, and she's doing that just because of her campaign. She's trying to get some type of an edge. She knows she's doing poorly, and so she's playing these political games. I don't have time for political games. I've got people whose lives are on the line. I've got people whose homes and their possessions are on the line, and we are focused 100% on that mission. I'm not worried about playing her political games. And so she is being selfish by trying to blunder into this when we're working just fine.
You know, you had properly staged. You are ready for Milton. You have all the utility trucks. You have food. You have water. You have supplies, all staged, all ready to come in right behind the hurricane, as you always do. Governor Kemp, same thing. Governor McMaster, same thing. They have been missing in action. It took FEMA nearly an entire week to get to the people in North Carolina, and we still don't know the death count in North Carolina. It is the worst, to me, response ever in the history of hurricanes in this country, Governor. And for her to be going on Stern, Colbert, The View, Call Me Daddy, instead of being in North Carolina is unconscionable.
Well, I'll tell you this, Sean. We're going to handle this incoming storm. It is right now much more powerful than what Helene was. And we'll see. They say it's going to weaken before it hits, but we can't assume that. So this has the potential to be one of the most damaging storms in the history of our country. And can we not just focus on the livelihoods and the well-being of the people? Why is she trying to politicize this? Why is she putting her campaign ahead of the well-being of the people of Florida? We're laser focused on their well-being. This is going to be a massive effort. There's going to be things we're going to have to respond to that we've probably never had to respond in this kind in the history of our state. And we're going to do it. And we're going to keep our eye on the ball. And we're not going to let her nonsense distract us from the task at hand.
Let's go, Ron. This is Florida, bro. Stop playing with us, man. We're going to do what we need to do regardless. We're going to do what we need to do regardless. Stop acting like this isn't a model state. Y'all talking to us like you talking to California and Gavin Newsom. There's a reason why everybody's leaving over there and everybody's trying to pull up over here. You feel me? And I'm one of them. So, like I said, maybe he's lying, maybe he's not. However, I believe we may have a clip, and Maya just sent something over. So hold up. Maya just sent something over. Let's see what this is.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call. So I don't know. There was a rough start in some places, but every governor from Florida to North Carolina has been fully cooperative and supportive and acknowledged what this team is doing. And they're doing an incredible job. But we got a lot more to do.
Now, President Biden has done it.
Does anything else need to be said? You have Kamala going on these shows, doing her tours. Clearly she's not checked in. How is Biden, who was during the Helene, the first hurricane, the one last week, the one that hit North Carolina and other areas, Biden was definitely at the beach, I believe. Well, I believe he was at the beach from the pictures I saw one of those times. Biden didn't go down there, but Biden's more aware of what's going on than Kamala. Biden, like, imagine how, I almost am wondering if Biden's trying to sabotage Kamala. If Biden's just like, you know what, man, y'all tried to play me. Y'all tried to push me out. Y'all did me wrong. I'm realizing more and more. And it's probably Jill. I guarantee you it's Jill. This is a Jill thing because y'all saw how Jill was protecting her husband, Joe. You saw how Jill was cheering after that debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's just standing up there like wondering like what's going on and just waiting to get his participation trophy after he got blown out of a tournament. You get what I'm saying? That's what's Jill. Jill, who does not show signs of cognitive decline, is the person that is telling Joe, and the person that see, even if Joe doesn't know what's going on, you're not going to hurt a woman's husband who she's respected for so long and seen how people have respected him for so long. And she's seen the sacrifices that he's made, all the things that he's done, putting this country first. And what he did, if you're on the Democratic side, let's be real. He came in and took back the country from Donald Trump. So he did his job, if that's the side that you're on. And now to see how they've mistreated him and used him, because I think Jill realizes like, oh, they had this plan all along to just use Joe and push him as far along as they could. So that way there wouldn't be an open primary and allow other people to run. Let's say if Tulsi Gabbard was still in the party. Let's say if RFK Jr. was still in the party. Let's say if Cornel West wanted to, all these different people. Jill Biden is realizing what's going on. She's clear. She understands what's going on, and I'm sure she does not like it. She does not like it. You're going to try to take power away from my man after he brought you on as a VP, as a DEI hire? Now you're going to try to backdoor my husband, who's been a career politician doing all these, and you think I've been in this White House. I was in the White House for 8 years with Obama. I was in the White House with my husband, who was the president for 4 more years. And now you think that you're about to just backdoor me and take away that power that from my husband and me? And Joe Biden is making a stand. He's making a stand, like very quietly. First, we thought it was just a joke when he put on the MAGA hat, right? But all of these different things that are saying, like, clearly they're not on the same page. Clearly they're not on the same page. So it could get very, very interesting. But before we get off of this view, I want to show y'all something one more time from the view. Just to show me, I thought that this just showed how foolish some of these ladies are, and it's featuring Whoopi Goldberg. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. I may be looking at this totally wrong, but y'all tell me if this doesn't like show just how ignorant and naive these ladies are. Y'all tell me. All right, 26.
They deny all of this stuff without knowing or talking to people or finding.
And Shah said a woman knows what's up. And matter of fact, let me stop it. A woman definitely gonna know what's up. You're not about to play with a woman's, like a woman. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all know I be getting on y'all ladies. A woman will mess with a man. Women know how to get to men. Women know how to say certain things, how to do certain things that can significantly impact a man, their man, right? But if another woman or another group tries to like now do the same thing or tries to mess with it, that's when that woman attack mode has been activated. So Uncle Brother wrote, Biden is better about the coup. Is better about the coup. All right, so let me make sure that I caught all these comments. Hold on. And I wanted to go back because I know Uncle Brother wrote something. So Uncle Brother wrote, for real though, she's perfect for the job, at least as far as the establishment is concerned. I agree. She will have no delusions of actually being in charge of anything. She will do and say exactly what she's told. Agreed. All right, so Maya wrote, Biden said that DeSantis had his cell phone number and doing a great job. All right, we already saw that. Nah, y'all are holding it down. Y'all are holding it down in the comments. Shah said, and FEMA only was giving people $750. Yeah, if you really want people to move, and to Shah's point earlier, where she said that a lot of people are making financial decisions to not leave. And they're prioritizing and saying like, yo, I'm going to leave and go spend however amount of money on a hotel, however amount of money to go somewhere else. We know, Kamala, sweetheart, this economy, remember? This economy that y'all created, that y'all are responsible for, because I'm saying y'all are responsible for, because if it was booming, you would want to take credit, right? So if it's not, with all this inflation, with our money not going anywhere, with people feeling like even with the economy doing well, our money, like we're living check to check. A lot of people, it's just people are feeling like their money is going nowhere. So now you're going to tell people to evacuate. Now people are going to not necessarily use common sense and maybe say like, yo, it doesn't matter what you need to spend. Anything's worth spending if you're going to save your life or, save the life of your loved ones and not put yourself in harm's way. Cool. But instead of using common sense, a lot of people are going to consult with their convenience and the convenience as well as their finances. What I'm going to leave and spend hotels. So now this is what's happening, because this happened to a buddy of mine who lives in Fort Myers. Shout out to Doug, who always taps in. So Doug's close friend, Dave was in Fort Myers, I believe, and was looking, and initially he was going to evacuate, but just more inland to another hotel still on the West Coast. That, I guess, they shut down. And now all of, a lot of people on the West Coast came over here. Dave's in Fort Lauderdale, I believe. So now what happens with the hotels? Y'all know how this go. Everybody's coming over. Now the price of the rooms are going up. So it's a lot of things to factor in. If you really want to help, man, maybe some of that money that y'all giving some of these other folks, maybe if you had that still, you'd be able to incentivize people to leave. But hey, to each their own. Y'all told them that we should leave. Matter of fact, Maya, if you can, send me that video that you sent me with the governor, or it was the mayor, I'm sorry, one of the mayors of one of the towns. I think it was Sarasota, where the mayor said, if you do not leave, you're going to die. And people are still deciding to stay. So neither here nor there. All right, so let's move on to Whoopi. So listen to what Whoopi says, and you tell me if the ladies in our family, I'm saying the ladies in our family, because if there's fellas out here watching The View to get information and insight, then yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. So the ladies in our family, you tell me if they should be getting advice from somebody like Whoopi, or seeing the world through somebody like her's perspective.
Deny all of this stuff without knowing or talking to people or finding anything out. Is there anything that can be done to curb them? Because I feel like if I haven't used my insurance for a year, give me the money back. Give me the money back. Let me reinvest it in my family.
She's dead serious. The reason why I stopped it is because I thought that y'all would think that she was just joking. She's dead serious. Now, maybe she didn't explain it. Maybe I should give her the benefit of doubt, because what ends up happening, let's say when you have car insurance, and you don't get into an accident for that year, you'll get a check for like $100 or $200. Meanwhile, you paid, $3,000-$4,000, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. And they'll send you a check and say, hey, you didn't get into an accident, so we're going to give you 10% of what you pay maybe 1 month. But Whoopi Goldberg just said, when dealing with an insurance company, if I don't go see any doctors, give me the money back. Is she like, did she just maybe just misspeak, or does she not know how this works? That's the risk you take when you have insurance. You pay insurance just in case you have an accident. You can't just, and obviously when you pay insurance, you're paying a certain amount to where you're paying into, and then if something happens, then you have a deductible that in case you have a catastrophic injury, then that deductible will be a small amount compared to what you would have to pay if it was a catastrophic injury. She's saying that she didn't say to give back a percentage. She said, give me the money back. Listen to it again.
Anything that can be done, talking to people or finding anything out. Is there anything that can be done to curb them? Because I feel like if I haven't used my insurance for a year, give me the money back. Give me the money back. Let me reinvest it in my family.
Yeah.
But there has to be some way where we can say to insurance companies, listen, you can't just knock people off and say, no, it's not good, particularly when it's older folks.
Yeah. So part of the reason for my plan is that this is about Medicare, because other...
All right, so we're going to leave it at that. And I'll tell you one good thing from this interview, being serious. One good thing that I liked, or that sounded good to me, that they spoke about was, and I think Sunny Holston, she was talking about how she's a sandwich generation. And I never heard that term before, but they were talking about being a sandwich generation where she's now taking care of her mother and taking care of her kids as well. So people that have to take care of their parents as well as taking care of their kids, there's a lot of stress on them. And Kamala Harris, she presented something, and I don't know if it's a formal plan or a formal policy, but she presented that under Medicare, I believe it was Medicare. Yeah, not Medicare, not Medicaid. Under Medicare, home health aides would be included. So that sounds good to me, just off of, just hearing it. I don't know how exactly it would be paid for, but that is something that I would be perfectly fine with my tax dollars going towards making sure that people that are on Medicare can use that to get home health aides. I'm with that. So I like that part of it. And I'm sure we'll hear about it if it is significant. I should have had it queued up so I can show Kamala a little bit of love, but me realizing that I didn't have it on here. Look, it was very distracting. I had to sit through about an hour. I mean, this was 36 minutes, so it took me about an hour and a half to get through listening to the ladies on The View. So my apologies, but it was a very, very difficult thing for me. So I apologize, but that was something that I like from Kamala. Something that I like from Kamala, and something that I think will be very good for people that are on Medicare, get a little older, and can pay for home health aid. I have family members that take care of, not only the older people in their family, take care of their parents, but also take care of their kids. So that would relieve some real stress. That's a real policy. That's a real policy. That's something significant. So I gotta be a little bit objective, right? I gotta be a little bit objective. So let's move on. And hold on. I see it. Maya wrote, for a lot of people, it's not as simple as a decision. If they don't have the means to leave, they can't. Okay, yeah. So going back to evacuating. Yeah. All right. So Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.